I'm David Toman, author of nootropicsexpert.com, and in this video I'm going to share with you what I know about cacao, what it is, why we use it, and the science behind it. Now this video is an update to a video I did on cacao several years ago. Cacao comes from the bean of the cacao or Theobroma cacao tree, a name derived from Greek for food of the gods from theos, meaning God, and broma, meaning food. Native to Central and South America, cacao residue has been found on Olmec vessels found near Veracruz, Mexico, dating from 1750 BC. Aztec Emperor Montezuma loved cacao, calling it the divine drink, which builds up resistance and fights fatigue. A cup of the precious drink permits a man to walk for a whole day without food. Cacao beans were brought back to Spain by the first European settlers in the 1500s. Now, as a nootropic, cacao offers a host of brain benefits. It's a source of tryptophan, anandamide, phenylethylamine, theobromine, magnesium, caffeine, vitamins, minerals, flavonoids, and is a prebiotic. Cacao boosts cerebral blood flow, endorphins, learning, memory, focus, reduces free radical damage, suppresses cortisol, and it reduces stress. In fact, chocolate consumption leads to better cognition. One study found that the countries with the highest chocolate consumption produced a greater number of Nobel laureates. But not all chocolate is created equal, and here's why. Cacao and cocoa are not the same thing. They're both chocolate and start from the same place, but how they are processed makes all the difference to their nootropic benefits. Chocolate in all forms starts from the Theobroma cacao tree. Seed pods harvested from this tree are cracked open for the 30 to 40 cacao beans inside. The cacao beans are then placed in piles or bins, often seeded with microbial bacteria, or cocobiota it's called, and left to ferment for up to 7 days. This fermentation process is key for developing the characteristic chocolate flavor. After fermentation, the cacao beans are dried, cleaned, and the cacao nibs removed from their shell. Cocoa refers to cacao that has been roasted. All cacao is roasted at varying degrees to enhance that distinct chocolate flavor and to kill pathogens and bacteria. Now, there is no such thing as a raw cacao or raw cocoa, no matter what the marketers try to sell you. Anything heated above 104 degrees Fahrenheit begins to lose its nutritional value, but the cacao fermentation process itself can heat up to 120 degrees. The key is cacao roasted at the lowest heat possible, but still maintaining most of cacao's nutritional value. Dutch processed cacao, or dark chocolate, is cacao powder or cocoa powder that has been processed using an alkalizing agent. They use potassium carbonate to give it a darker color and milder taste. This is the form of cocoa often used in ice cream, hot cocoa, and baking or chocolate bars. Research has shown that natural cacao powder, or minimally processed, contains the highest total antioxidant capacity. Milk chocolate contains the least amount of cacao solid and has the lowest total antioxidant capacity in procyanidin levels. The alkalization process used in Dutch processed cocoa also has far less procyanidin content. Shells are removed from the cacao nibs using a winnowing machine. Some of the nibs are packaged and sold as is. Now, since cacao nibs come directly from the cacao tree, they contain the highest levels of flavanols and provide the most nootropic benefit. But most cacao nibs are ground into chocolate liquor, which is then processed into chocolate by mixing in cocoa butter, sugar, and other flavorings and emulsifiers. Now, one study surveyed a broad range of chocolate and cocoa-containing products marketed across the United States. The study included 3 or 4 of the top-selling products within these categories: natural cocoa powder, unsweetened baking chocolate, dark chocolate, semi-sweet baking chips, milk chocolate, and chocolate syrup. Now, the research is tested for the percent fat, percent non-fat cocoa solids, antioxidant level by ORAC, polyphenols, epicatechin, catechin, total monomers, and flavan-3 oligomers and polymers. The study found a 5-fold variation on epicatechin and catechins between products. In decreasing order, they went from cocoa powder to baking chocolate to dark chocolate and baking chips, milk chocolate, and chocolate syrup, meaning cacao powder or cocoa powder provided the most nootropic benefit and chocolate syrup is the least. Cacao boosts brain health and function in several ways, but 2 in particular stand out. First, cacao improves mood. Cacao stimulates the release of endorphins in your brain. It contains tyrosine, which is a precursor to dopamine, and tryptophan, which is a precursor to serotonin, all neurotransmitters contributing to mood. Researchers at the Neuroscience Institute in San Diego found that chocolate blocks the breakdown of anandamide, which helps increase happiness levels. And Dr. David Lewis of the Mind Lab, funded by Cadbury, found that chocolate provides a buzz that in many cases lasts 4 times as long as the most passionate kiss. And second, cacao boosts memory. The flavonoids in cacao cross the blood-brain barrier and accumulate in the hippocampus, an area of your brain involved in learning and memory. Scientists believe flavanols directly interact with cellular cascades, yielding expression of proteins that promotes neurogenesis, neuronal function, and brain connectivity. Flavanols improve cerebral blood flow and the creation of new blood vessels, which provides long-term protective effects on cognition and behavior. Cacao contains caffeine, which in low doses improves memory, mood, and concentration. A University of Oslo team conducted a cross-sectional study with 2,841 people to examine the relationship between intake of flavonoids from chocolate, wine, tea, and cognitive performance. The researchers found that subjects who consumed more chocolate, wine, and tea, all 3, had higher cognitive test scores than those who did not. The scientists concluded that intake of these foods and cognition was dose-dependent, with the maximum effect for chocolate and wine. The study authors said, a diet high in some flavonoid-rich foods is associated with better performance and cerebral cognitive abilities in a dose-dependent manner. They also pointed out that dark chocolate contains a greater amount of flavonoids per serving than tea and red wine, which increases blood flow to gray matter in your brain, reducing the risk of dementia and stroke. Most of us love chocolate because it tastes great, and we love the way it makes us feel. And minimally processed chocolate, 80% cacao or above, is one of the best nootropics that anyone can easily find. Cacao is a source of tryptophan, the precursor to the neurotransmitter serotonin, which puts us in a good mood. Cacao stimulates the release of phenylethylamine, or PEA, which in turn releases norepinephrine and dopamine, producing the euphoric effect often associated with a runner's high. Cacao boosts the release of anandamide, which is also known as the bliss molecule. Flavanol-rich cacao improves blood flow to your brain, which boosts oxygen and nutrient delivery to brain cells, resulting in better memory and processing speed. Cacao contains more antioxidants than other superfoods, including acai, blueberries, tea, and pomegranate. Cacao helps relieve stress by suppressing the release of cortisol and providing a substantial amount of magnesium, which improves memory, focus, mood, and sleep. Dark chocolate reduces your craving for sweet, salty, and fatty foods. And chocolate loves bifidobacterium, which makes it a great prebiotic. Research has found that seniors who ate more dark chocolate were less likely to develop dementia. Tripping on chocolate. People actually snort raw cacao and report a smooth, invigorating, easygoing kind of high. A rush of well-being flooded over my body, one person said. I can't say that I've tried it, But then again, the seeds of the cacao tree were originally considered to have divine properties. Food of the gods, ring a bell? Minimally processed cacao releases a potent amount of endorphins, which can leave you feeling euphoric, especially while enjoying some EDM. Cacao also contains phenylethylamine, which leads to tyrosine, which leads to dopamine, fueling your brain's pleasure and reward system. The magnesium in cacao relaxes you, and the epicatechin in cacao boosts blood flow, which means that you can go faster and further. More oxygen to muscles allows you to make the most of whatever it is you love to do. Sober has never been more fun. People are even doing cacao in clubs. You can party until dawn with no hangover and no regrets. Even if you're not willing to try snorting some cacao, minimally processed cacao, sometimes called raw cocoa or cacao, will improve your mood. Cacao stimulates the release of anandamide, serotonin, and phenylethylamine, all neurotransmitters that can boost your mood. Now, it's easy to get excited about the health benefits of chocolate. We often see headlines about the latest chocolate discovery. But here's the thing. The studies investigating the links between chocolate and great health are not using the type of chocolate you find in the checkout line at the supermarket. Easily lost in translation or a sneaky attempt to sell more magazines, but these scientists are using cacao and not highly processed chocolate. Minimally processed cacao still tastes great, so keep in mind that you won't get the nootropic benefits you'd expect from cacao with a box of Godiva chocolates, unless it's over 80% dark chocolate. Now here's a study on how cacao improves learning and memory. Cacao flavonoids and their metabolites cross the blood-brain barrier and go to areas of your brain crucial for learning and memory, including the hippocampus, cerebral cortex, cerebellum, and striatum. Research shows that cacao flavonols directly interacts with signaling cascades that are crucial for triggering gene expression and protein synthesis for long-term potentiation, which is critical for long-term memory formation. Cacao flavonols have been shown to significantly increase cerebral blood flow, providing neuroprotection and boosting the glucose and oxygen needed to power energy-hungry mitochondria. A study published in Frontiers in Nutrition analyzed dozens of cacao flavanol studies on cognition and concluded that results are primarily dose-dependent, with best results from long-term daily use. The team concluded that the evidence to date shows cacao flavanols help boost general cognition, attention, processing speed, and memory. And here's a study on how cacao improves mood. A 2012 study examined the immediate and long-term effects of cacao polyphenols on cognition and mood. In this randomized double-blind study, 72 healthy middle-aged participants received a dark chocolate drink mix standardized to contain 500 milligrams, 250 milligrams, or 0 milligrams of polyphenols once daily for 30 days. Participants were tested at the beginning of the study at 1, 2.5, and 4 hours after a single dose, and again after receiving 30 days of treatment. The researchers concluded that a high dose of cacao polyphenols improved calmness and contentedness. And one more study on how cacao prevents dementia. A study in France followed 1,367 subjects over 65 years old for 5 years to determine if flavanol intake influenced neuroprotection. The team concluded that the intake of antioxidant flavonoids is inversely related to the risk of dementia. Another double-blind study on cacao, cognition, and aging found that 90 subjects with mild cognitive impairment had significantly better cognitive function, including verbal test scores, after consuming cacao flavanols for 8 weeks. This study confirmed earlier reports that those who consumed higher doses of cocoa flavonoids, for example 990 milligrams and 520 milligrams daily, did better than those who used less, or 45 milligrams. And many experts are now saying that Alzheimer's disease is really type 3 diabetes, because insulin deficiency and insulin resistance is behind Alzheimer's type's neurodegeneration. A trial using 15 healthy subjects who were assigned to consume 100 grams of dark chocolate containing about 500 milligrams of polyphenols or to 90 grams of white chocolate, which didn't contain polyphenols, for 14 days. The researchers concluded that dark but not white chocolate decreases blood pressure and improves insulin sensitivity in healthy persons. The recommended dose for cacao flavanols for cognitive benefit is 500 to 1,000 milligrams per day. The challenge is figuring out flavanol levels in cacao or dark chocolate you are buying. A few manufacturers declare flavanol amounts in milligrams per capsule or dose in the ingredients on the ingredients label. Now, cocoa nibs and cocoa powder are the purest and contain the highest levels of flavanols. But pure cocoa tends to be bitter, so look for capsules if you can't stand the taste of dark chocolate or cocoa. Milk negates the advantage of eating chocolate because it interferes with the absorption of the antioxidants in chocolate. This includes no health benefit from eating milk chocolate. Cacao in dark chocolate may cause acne, heartburn, and GERD. The phenylethylamine in chocolate may cause migraines in some people. Weight gain is a concern when consuming solid dark chocolate regularly. Cacao is a stimulant, so avoid taking it later in the day if you don't want it to interfere with your sleep. Now, some drugs may increase the effects of caffeine present in cacao because they decrease the metabolism or clearance of caffeine, including drugs like estrogens and oral contraceptives, certain antibiotics, and others. Now, cacao may increase the risk of adverse reaction when used with clozapine because it inhibits this drug's metabolism. 1.5 ounces or more of raw cacao with MAOIs or monoamine oxidase inhibitors or other antidepressant meds may cause a hypertensive crisis or lead to serotonin syndrome. The oxalic acid in cacao inhibits absorption of calcium in your body, so larger amounts of cacao could cause problems for those prone to kidney stones or other calcium absorption issues. Now, an important note, dogs, parrots, and horses should not eat cacao or chocolate because they lack the necessary enzymes to metabolize theobromine, which is found in cacao. Chocolate or cacao can kill your pet. Now, cats have about half the sensitivity to cacao, but it can still be deadly. And one more important note, a study published by Consumer Reports in early 2023 reported that most of the dark chocolate brands that they tested were high in heavy metals, including excess levels of metals like lead and cadmium. So I recommend checking out the article on Consumer Reports and dark chocolate and heavy metals, which is easy to find doing a quick search online. They include recommendations for dark chocolate brands with the lowest levels of heavy metals and a list of brands to avoid. Less processed cacao retains more of the nootropic benefits of flavanols, and the converse is true. The more cacao is processed, the less cognitive benefit you experience. So a good rule of thumb, darker chocolate that is 85% dark chocolate or more is best. The darker chocolate is better, fewer heavy metals as well. Now, milk chocolate and white chocolate does not meet these requirements and provide no nootropic benefit. Now, you can use pure cacao powder found in the baking section of your local supermarket. And if you can't stand the taste because it's too bitter, then get a capsule machine and make yourself some capsules. And avoid Dutch processed chocolate because most of the goodness found in cacao is processed out. The chocolate maker Mars Inc. has developed a process which they branded and called Cocao. This process extracts cocoa flavonoids from fresh cacao beans, preserving them in the highest concentrations available. So do a search for a cacao or cocoa extract product using Cocao. It'll be stated on their supplement facts label. in their product, and to be sure that you know exactly how many flavonols are in each capsule that you're using if you're using cacao as a nootropic. The U.S. Department of Agriculture database on flavonoid content reports that unsweetened baking chocolate has 206 milligrams of flavonols per 100 grams of chocolate, and dark chocolate has half that amount. So to wrap this video up, I recommend using cacao as a nootropic supplement. And that's my latest review on using cacao as a nootropic. If you want to see links to the studies I talked about, go to my website, Nootropics Expert, and search for cacao. Or click on the link below this video. Just click on the More button below this video, and it'll open up the notes for this video. You'll find the links I mentioned down there in the notes section. And there over on my website, you'll also find a full transcript of this video. You'll also find dozens of articles on all the well-known nootropics over on my website, Nootropics Expert. Now, if you have any questions or you want to share your experience using cacao, please use the comments section below this video or at the bottom of my cacao review over on Nootropics Expert. I try my best to respond to comments and questions as quickly as I can. And if you haven't already, download your free copy of Secrets of the Optimized Brain. It's nearly 100 pages and contains details on 92 of the most popular nootropics used today. There is a link below this video which will take you to the download page on my website, Nootropics Expert, so you can download your free copy. And it is finally available. The second edition of my book, Head First, The Complete Guide to Healing and Optimizing Your Brain with Nootropic Supplements. Head First, the second edition, is 962 pages and is available in hardcover, paperback, or in digital. Now you can get your copy on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Balboa Press or Walmart and other online booksellers. I provided a link to them all in a link below this video in the notes section. Now, if you could use some personal help with choosing the right nootropics or trying to figure out how to deal with your own brain health issues, consider booking a personal consultation with me. You'll find a link to my calendar below this video in the notes section. And if you want to see more videos on all the best nootropics used today, subscribe to this channel before you leave. I'll be putting up new videos on nootropics and optimizing your brain every week. I'm David Toman, author of Nootropics Expert.